What's up, guys? So this video is going to be on the SCR. So I was thinking about doing something like this too, just to kind of work out what I'm thinking about the stock and if I would buy it or not. Again, it was one of my favorite plays, my biggest plays last year. Made a killing off of it, and then I gave back some, and we are now. So I'm not going to get into details of the reverse split and all this and that. We're just going to go into, what we know right now. And you saw me put up a picture of what the handle was on Indiana. So we'll start from there. So I'm starting to learn more and more about how the betting industry kind of works. So you have the handle, and that's all anyone cares about right now. So the handle is just like how much money did you handle, right? Like how many bets were made, how much came in. I think DraftKings was the biggest in Indiana, which is like amazing. It was like freaking somewhere close to like 115 million or something like that. And that was just in 3 months, mind you. And the SCR, it came in just shy of like 3 million, and that was just only in Indiana. And then the gross receipts, which is the GR, DraftKings kept like 8.5 million. The SCR kept about $250,000. The gross receipts are what's left over after all the bets are made. So, let's use the SCR for example. They took in $3 million, and they paid out all the winners and they did all that, and then the GR, the gross receipts, what they got to keep. Like I said, $250,000 in Indiana. And of course, you still have to set aside for marketing, company growth, and all that jazz. So it's not like you get to keep 100% of that money anyway. So it goes on. So it kind of like helps you. For me, I'm thinking about it like, okay, so how the heck would I evaluate this company? You look at something like Indiana, but then you look at majority of the states don't have sports betting that's legal yet. And of course, we'll get into Canada being the biggest. It's a Canadian company, and how they're going to be legalizing soon and whatnot. So the way I'm valuing it right now is they did a reverse split. They have about 50 million shares, 50 million like something, but we'll just go with 50 million to keep simple numbers, right? Okay, so if they could do 3 million in Indiana, of course, but when California becomes legal, obviously they're going to do a lot more. You guys know what I posted about New York. It was kind of crazy. Like they were demanding way like crazy things, but I heard Florida is going to be legal soon. And basically, I'm trying to paint the picture of eventually, over the next decade, just like weed, I think most states are going to legalize sports betting. So let's use conservative numbers without growth. Let's say on average, obviously with California being a lot higher and Florida being a lot higher than other states like, Nevada, or not Nevada, I'm sorry, like Montana, 500,000 people, that's probably not going to be as high as the sports handle, right? If they can make about $250,000 profit per states, so for every 10 states, that's 2.5 million, right? Times 5, it'd be about 12.5 million if I'm doing the math on top of my head, right? Okay, so they're making 12.5 million there. And Canada, last time I checked, has about 60 million people in it. America has around 300 million, let's just say, so they're about 5 times as big. So you divide that by 5, you're looking at about 2.5 million, roughly, guesstimating off the top of my head. So we're looking at about 15 million profit. Well, let's say they do a little bit better in Canada because they're a Canadian company and that's where they've dominated. And let's not even count that money. Let's say that money just handles all the taxes. And then let's cut out another, let's just say they bring home $5 million, roughly 10 cents a share in profit, right now, per quarter. And of course, sports are going to go up and down because there's going to be some seasons during football that's worth a lot more than other seasons or whatever. So you're looking at about, let's just guesstimate 50 cents, per share. And the stock price is at, $20. So it's not looking so good right now, right? Because 10 years on 50 cents will bring you at $5. So $5, $10, $15, $20. You're paying 40 times, potential future. Now here's the crazy part. I think the company's going to continue to grow. I think sports betting is going to continue to grow, right? If they made $250,000 this year off of Indiana, and they can continue to grow that number, I think they could double it in 10 years, you know? And I think if they could do that around the whole company, now that 50-cent mark grows to $1. So now you're talking 20 times earnings. Okay. The Score also has the most app downloads, you know, for a the media side of it. So it's a sports betting company, but also has the media aspect of it. And you know, they're on the e-gaming, they're on all sports. And the crazy number is they actually retain their users, stay on their app longer than ESPN does. So what if they started charging a premium subscription, they start making money off of ads and whatnot off their, you know, just their sports, you know, just their media app, which they make money still off of the revenue off the app. And I predict with the betting and everything, it's going to continue to grow, right? So let's say all that profit, we don't even touch that profit. That profit just gets handled into going back into the company, growing it or whatever. And they grow at a steady rate. So they're making about $1 a year in pure profit, taxes, everything and all that. So you're paying 20 times earnings right now. Still seems kind of high, but they're ripe for a acquisition. Now, Penn National Gaming, Barstool Sports, owns a good percentage of them already. And so my thinking is, of course, down the road, there should be a buyout, right? Their market cap right now is at $1 billion. And I can see them getting bought out for $2 or $3 billion down the road as their sports handle grows, as more downloads happen, especially if they become legal in Canada, and Canada is going to pay a favor to Canadian companies. Any company that buys them out, you know, they're going to get the huge advantage there, right? Someone like a DraftKings could buy them out and tell Penn, hey, sorry, see you later, we're going to take this company. Or Penn can. Maybe even FanDuel. TNT, I might be wrong about this. Remember reading TNT actually bought Bleacher Report. If you're not familiar with Bleacher Report, if you're a sports fan, you are. If you're not, then it's pretty mainstream, like article kind of app, like an ESPN type for sports. So in my head, I'm like, okay, they don't have Bleacher Report doesn't have betting yet, and they were worth $2.5 billion. So I do see the Score as undervalued. Just on their media content alone, it should be $1 billion company. Now, here's the crazy part. They're sitting on about $200 million in cash, and their market cap's at about $1 billion. So, you know, 20% of the company, if you're looking at in fifths or whatever, is just in cash. And if you look at the cash burn, when you look deeper into the numbers, they're not really burning that much. They're burning like, what, $12 or $20 million a year? The biggest splash they made recently in the news was having PGA, you know, they signed a deal with PGA to be the exclusive betting partner. Which I think is a great move because PGA covers up bets after basketball's over. There's that blank space. You have hockey, and then, of course, you got the PGA Tour and stuff going on, and you got golf going on. So I think it was a good move. And, you know, the CEO and the management in place has proven that they've already taken, because the Score, before the history of them, they were like a media company, and they sold off, they spun it off, but they kept the digital assets, they kept it as the Score. And so they sold this off, everyone got rewarded, and they kept this stock. And now they transform it into betting and all that. It's a new young industry. And the CEO, I remember listening to him, he was like, look, I'm not interested in having the big names after us and, you know, whatnot, like, you know, spending millions of dollars of getting a name on the side of the building. We're going to make smart decisions, and we're going to grow, what a CEO should say, but he's actually followed through with it, and the company has consistently grown. So I believe in it. And you know, they did a 10-for-1 reverse split, so I guess I'll go into the whole history. I got in at 65 cents. I sold around the $4 mark, and now they're back, you know, now they're at 20 bucks. So they did a 10-for-1 reverse split. So I had 10,000 shares turned into 1,000 shares. I freaking sold out at 40. Should have sold out at 45, but hey, you know, whatever. And then I lost some money. I got in at like 27, 28. I sold out now. I'm at 20. I sold out completely, but I bought options for May at 22.50. But now making this video, I'm like, you know what? This is where you just got to eat it. And I think I'm going to buy back into my position tomorrow. I think I'm going to open up a decent sized position again. And you kind of have to have faith. So the reason why I believe in it, I believe that over the next decade, we're going to get legalized sports betting. I believe they could do about 12.5 in gross receipts through the United States. That's still a low number. I think they're going to do a lot higher than that, but we're trying to be conservative. And I think once Canada legalizes, their third reading is going to be April 22nd. And the way the Canadian laws works, I started doing a lot of research on this shit too. They go through different readings, different sections, where their legislators get to, you know, kind of pick apart the bill. It doesn't mean the bill gets destroyed, but they might add something or remove something. And I think one of the things they added was to protect horse betting. Not a big deal. But it seems very bullish to me, and it seems like it's going to pass. I believe we're going to get legalized sports betting in all of Canada. So if that happens, and they're in the forefront, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm predicting they're only going to do about, you know, maybe 3 to 5 million. But if they take the dominant lead in Canada, you know, and they could end up doing, you know, let's not talk about the handle, let's talk about the gross receipts. Let's say if they could end up doing about 5 or 6 million there, and they could do 20 million in America over the next decade, naturally as prices go up, bets go up, and all that crap, you know, whatever. You're talking about $26 million, and I'm talking about after taxes. I'm just ballparking these numbers, but let's say they could get to around $20 or 20 million. I mean, holy shit, you're talking about, you know, $20 million a quarter. So you're talking about 80 million a year, roughly 100 EBITDA, you know, roughly 100. And you're talking about a company that's earning at a forward PE of 10, which is phenomenal. And if it's a tech company and it's growing, not to consider the media side, wow, you got a great company. And if it starts trading at around 20, 25 PE, you're looking at a stock that should be trading around 60, 65 bucks over the course of the next 10 years. It's a long haul. 2030 is a long haul, but I mean, to be able to 3.5x, maybe 3x, 20 to 60 bucks, roughly 60 bucks. It's not a bad bet. It's not a bad bet at all. And if they get acquired for around 2 billion, I'm thinking closer to 3, but even 2 billion are talking about a $40 buyout. 3 billion is a number I'm thinking because it's like you're paying 3 times as much as everything. It should be worth around 60 digital assets and everything combined, plus a huge account base that you have. You're talking about a stock that could go from 20 to 60 in the next 5 years, maybe 3 years, depending on when you think a buyout could happen. So if the score is not on your radar, it should be on your radar. Please do your own homework, dig deeper into it yourself. But you know, if you have about 2 G's and you buy 100 shares, I think you're going to be rewarded pretty handsomely for it. And the reason why I say that is you could use that 100 shares, put that 2 G's aside, don't touch it for about 2-3 years, let the stock do what it's going to do, and then you can just sell covered calls against it. So let's say the stock gets to around $40 in about 2 years, and you're like, oh, this is doing good now. And now every month you could sell calls for 50 bucks, telling somebody else, hey, I have 100 shares of the score. I'll sell it to you for 50 bucks. It's at 40. I'll sell it to you for 50 bucks. You know, you turned your 2,000 into 4,000, but you're like, hey, I'll sell you my shares at 50, but you got to pay me 50 cents, you know, per share. So, you know, that's roughly 50 bucks. And so they say, okay, yeah, screw it, I'll take that bet. It's probably never going to get to 50 bucks and, you know, 6 weeks, 8 weeks out or whatever. And you can make yourself about $600-700 bucks, you know, before taxes a year off of just owning that. Plus, if the stock goes up, because if it never reaches 50 after that month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is, you keep the shares and you keep that premium. And you're looking at a pretty good return in the long, long, long run. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little quick breakdown. Let me know what you guys think. The ticker is SCR, and yeah, look into it. I'm really curious to see what you think. Drop some comments or DM me, and if you have a different perspective, I'd love to hear it. All right, guys, good luck.